Let's see what we can do to apply our system to this challenge.
And let's see, as it approaches the course, there we go. Avatar engaged. Their run is underway from Long Beach Arena. We're 11 seconds in. First thing, the first task as we go is to approach Mission Command and get instructions. We will hear and see that interaction right now.
Well, good afternoon, Commander Andra.
Greetings, Avatar Operator. It's so good to see you. We have a very important mission to complete. It's a very complex mission, and it will need all of your skills as an Avatar Operator to complete successfully. First, you must navigate to the station hatch, locate the switch, and push it to the on position. Then you can exit the station hatch to the planetary surface. Once there, navigate to the power station. There you must find a full power canister and place it into the canister sockets to turn the lights on. When the lights are on in the asset storage area, you may navigate there. You will need to remove the access panel with a drill. Once you've removed the access panel, you can reach inside and retrieve an energy abundance rock. You have to identify it by touch. It has a rough surface, and once you have retrieved an energy abundance rock, your mission is complete. There are a lot of steps. Do you copy all?
Copy that, Commander Andra. Let me repeat it to make sure. I will be navigating over to the station hatch. I will flip the switch to on to be able to go through the door. I will locate a canister that is full and place it in the canister location so I can turn the lights on. Then I'll be able to navigate over to the door that contains the abundance rock. I will use the drill to open the hatch door. I will retrieve the rock by touch, and my mission will be complete then.
That's correct. Good luck, and please hurry. The clock is ticking.
Thank you, Commander.
So AVATRINA has received her instructions. This is Trina, which is a telerobotic intelligent nursing assistant on the course. It seemed like a good communication there with the Mission Command.
Absolutely, yeah. The reception goes through. We've got the picture of the operator's face there, and you could kind of see the head nod as she got all of her mission parameters.
And to remind those in the scoring, so Mission Command has two points that they can give out for their experience with that avatar based on the answer to the idea of, did the avatar robot enable Mission Command judge to feel as though the remote operator was present in space? And the second point is possible for, did the robot enable the Mission Command judge to clearly understand the operator? So those points have just been filed, and that's a 1.5. So what that means is that one of those was always or good in response, and one was sometimes fair. You get 0 points for never or poor on those 2 points from the mission commander judge. Now Trina has approached the switch. We got to go from down to up, from off to on.
Close my grippers. I am going to manipulate.
So Allison has been going from a standpoint of using the body to move the switch up instead of grasping the switch, and it's been really successful for her through most of her avatars.
Yeah, and one of the things we have to note is that several of these operator judges have competed multiple times today, so they are processing huge amounts of information to figure out how these systems work with just under 60 minutes of training each time.
Yeah, I can imagine that there's quite a bit of fatigue in the judges and operator standpoint there.
It looks like it's in the on switch. We'll wait for the official. They feel confident. There we go. The point's been scored. There's a judge backstage who gives the official point for each one of these tasks. You cannot move on to the next task until you complete the one you were working on. So this is a connectivity, exploration, and skills transfer experience, one of the key components, those 3 components of the Avatar systems that they are testing. So the connectivity here has been well handled, and it looks like now we approach the archway, the gateway.
Yeah, it's very interesting to kind of watch her display there. It looks like it's augmented reality in the sense that there's overlays on what she is seeing. And having talked to the team, they're very concerned about, being able to do a sufficient depth perception. They actually have movable cameras so she can make it the same distance between the eyes as your operator does. So it really helps get that sense of 3D environment in the operator's headset.
And it looks like she keeps her eyes on the ground to make sure she's clear from the platform, which in the base, to make sure she's moving safely in space. This team is a collaboration between the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign and V-Rotors Inc. Let's meet the team now.
My name is Chris Hauser. I'm from Team AVATRINA, and we're from Urbana-Champaign, Illinois. We have students from 3 different departments: computer science, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering. My research lab has been working since 2015. We started during the Ebola pandemic, and we started developing telerobotics solutions for nursing in quarantine areas. The AVATRINA robot is a bimanual mobile manipulator. It has an omnidirectional mobile base that allows it to navigate, and it also has 2 arms that are able to produce essentially the same types of workspace and dexterity that a human torso would provide. This challenge is uniquely complex because we have to really consider the role of the operator. The human operator is central. We're trying to provide this technology to make that human feel comfortable in the position of the avatar, to feel confident in their abilities in performing tasks with the avatar.
And that avatar is on the course right now. It's a joystick-driven motor system. So the judge has been sitting. It looks like she's been keeping her eyes, the headset down, giving her the feedback to make sure she's clear on the ground, and moving with the joystick in her right hand.
Slow and steady wins the race here. She's made sure she hasn't veered off course and hit any of the scenery around her, which is a really important part. But yep, we got to the power station.
So looking at her time here, 7:48. It's a middle of the pack time. So they're great for a Friday run to be in a spot here. No damage has been done. The time is good. 1.5 for Mission Command is all solid. Now it's a matter of selecting the right energy canister. Those canisters, 2. There's a redundancy. 2 of them are heavier than the other 3. Either of those 2 heavy ones is the one the avatar needs to select. How this feedback system works is key to determining whether or not it's heavy or light, by feel, by touch, or by data.
Yeah, we also have to look at the gripper system and see, how easy this manipulation is going to be. She definitely has some feedback in what she's doing from a standpoint of controlling the robot. But are the grippers going to be sufficient to grab onto this? And so it's not a human-like hand, but we'll see how that goes.
It's not, and as we've said earlier, and I'll say it again, it also does not have skin, the very, very tactile and grippable skin that we have in our hands.
I'm really trying to figure out their augmented reality there. It almost looks like they're overlaying her hand position over the position of the actual robot end effector. And I'm wondering when the correlation isn't quite there, if maybe she's running into the boundaries of the actual workspace of the robot.
Yeah, so this is one of the robots that's designed. It has an anthropomorphic hand on the left and a 2-prong gripper on the right. So it did show that AR is showing basically that left hand, which has you can see the haptic feedback on her in the operation system. Oh, it looks like something in the system. They had to reset something in the system. There seems to be a pause. Based on the overhead here, we lost that feed.
The robot is still moving, though, so I'm wondering if this is going back to home to maybe reset the whole system or if it is tearing. What we mean by that is
Yeah.
getting to the proper sensory position. At times, different sensors, especially if you're very compliant, you can lose track of where your joints actually are, and their overlay may have been that they're trying to make sure that they're at the right set of joint angles.
Yeah, so it looks like her, I mean, as she adjusts her head there, the avatar system on the course is adjusting, but she did just move her arms and did not. So there seems to be a connectivity. She's clearly in a neutral human state. I mean, I don't want to go so far as to say I can recognize that, but she seems to have relaxed a bit.
Yeah, she said thank you, so it sounds like the operator may have told her that she's rebooting and good to go on relaxing your arms.
So describe for me again what you said, you called the term was tearing?
Tearing, yeah. So it's lots of different sensors do that, and so if you have some sort of ground zero and you want to say that, okay, I know this is zero, please get there. Your scales can do that at home sometimes, but force sensors and a lot of the haptic sensors will do this too. But essentially, if you get noise in your system at all and you want to say, no, I know that this is zero,
Right.
you can then push a button and say, set this to zero, and then I measure relative to that. The really great sensors are absolute, but they are more expensive and very hard to build.
Yeah, and so again, this is a modified robot. This wasn't designed originally for this course. It's a telerobotic intelligent nursing assistant, so TRINA as it's known. So the mobility, the interactivity are just things that are designed around the medical space, not around perhaps energy canisters and this type of mobility. I mean, I guess moving down the hall of medical facilities perhaps, but at this point it's about helping support a medical facility.
Yep, and we're back up. That's great.
Yep, you're gonna hear her say, looks like we're back. So, and to your point, Julia, the arms locked where they were. They did not reset to zero. The whole system didn't reset down to a zero spot.
Right, they may have breaks in their arms that allow them to get to a certain position and then do the what they need to do there. They may not have been tearing. I'm making stuff up here, but that is something that I know from my experience has been needed to do.
Yeah, and we'll see now. Again, this challenge is 2 of those, a redundant number of those. 2 of those canisters are full, which means they're heavier, which means 3 of those are light. Now, this will be a system in which she has to determine the weight. Now, I can't see if it's some of them have been just straight up data feedback, and some have been.
Yeah, that looks like she's getting some sort of feedback, like in a heads-up display on how much it weighs, but it's hard to decipher what that means. When you design human interfaces, and I've learned this over the years,
Yeah.
you have to be really careful about colors. People are going to look at a color and say, oh, danger.
Right. That's, I would say red
But
right
it's
now,
red,
yeah, is a
right?
concern.
And so knowing what we know, that is a light one, and you can kind of see that as she drops it,
Yep.
the danger maybe means not this one, but that's, obviously up to an interpretation and can mess you up if you're coming into the system cold.
She laid that one down. We'll see how she moves on towards the second one if she decides to try to prop that back up. The time, the clock is moving along, but we're at 13 minutes. We're about midway through the total runtime, so there's not a ton of pressure yet, but she does need to figure out which of these is the heaviest.
Left arm can't reach. Oh, that's very nice to hear. So that's kind of giving her a warning. It is turning red, danger, but it's also saying, hey, you're asking me to do something I can't do. When you get that kind of feedback kind of explicitly, then you don't worry about fighting against a robot. You trust it more, right? Because it's not doing what you want it to do, but it told you why.
And this is where that training in under an hour, these are sort of system dynamics that you don't necessarily know until you encounter them in real time. And these judges are able to ask out to the teams. She can say, hey, it's saying I'm at my limit of reach. What does that mean? But the team can't offer that. That's how this system, the entire contest is set up. These operational judges can ask for a reminder, for assistance during the run if they're confused about something, but they cannot be told what to do by those team members that are in the room.
Which is why those warnings are so nice, because you could give them information without breaking the rules.
Right.
My haptics that I'm feeling here on my glove. Place it here to get it to turn on.
So she feels pretty confident that is the heavier one that's going into its spot. And there is the point has been added. So at 14:30, she is Trina is through the placement of the energy cell. Now has to navigate a smaller, more advanced mobility course to reach the drill, and then the energy rock as the last task. She has about 9 minutes, a little over 9, to complete these last tasks.
We've certainly seen the drill go fast in the past, but that is not the norm. So hopefully we have enough time to get there. From a manipulation standpoint, she did a pretty good job of getting those canisters when she was able to. Really, the slowdown there was whatever the robot had to go through from its reset standpoint. So hopefully she's got a good chance.
Yeah, and overall, considering the time, we've seen resets that took much longer, that took the run. I mean, honestly, we've seen that most of the run has been a reset.
Yeah, and going back to your, just reboot it and it's fine.
Turn it off, turn it back on.
You design your reboot well enough, then that's an operational choice you can make.
And what does that take from a resource standpoint to decide, hey, we need to commit to making our reboot as short as possible?
There's a lot of reasons to do that. There's safety reasons, there are operational competition reasons, just usability reasons. People don't like sitting through reboots. It takes, some of their patience and time to do. But it means that you have to essentially say, everything that I need to configure on this robot needs to be configured in a way that is structured and fast. And it's boring work that people don't like doing, but it's extremely essential for a usable system.
Is it the kind of thing you can turn over to ML or AI to solve as a coding issue?
I don't know if that's the case. But maybe that's a next research project.
Okay.
It's the next XPRIZE. Make reboots fast.
I mean, that's world changing. I mean, right now I see parallel parking has found its end, which is amazing as we watch it do its crab walk to get aligned. This alignment, by the way, has been, especially for these rectangular, large platform, four-wheeled things, it is a challenge. The drills are just far enough back on the case is on wheels. There's a truss to the right. That is a point scored, by the way, for the advanced mobility through that part of the course. And now approaching the case. This is, there's been more than one team undone just by the location of these drills. Now, two separate types of hands. So we'll see what she goes with as the one, the two-handed gripper might hold, but you've got to get the anthropomorphic hand around that drill.
Yeah, I think that the right hand is specially designed for the drill in this case. I might be wrong on that. Maybe she's doing the left hand instead. It's actually hard to tell.
She is trying, I think it's the left hand that has grasping power. And again, we look for security, stability, and power in this grasp. But from the left hand, she's reaching for the right drill.
Right, that's why it's hard to tell. Yeah, that's a very interesting choice. I think the right drill is definitely a little bit harder of a setup to get to, as we've seen over and over. I think if we were taking stats on this, left drill actually probably is more successful than the right drill. And so it's an interesting choice that she thought, hey, this isn't a good approach path here. It's not looking too bad.
No, one thing is if the outcome works out, maybe the process wasn't too bad. But to your point, there are so many dominant right-handed human individuals that then lean towards right-handed decisions. But she did get it up, and the grasp is right away, and there is just enough. It looks like she might have nice variation, too, on the pressure for that trigger, because that's changing speeds.
Yeah, and it looks like a robust grasp, too. We talked a little bit through one of the last runs on having enough fingers to really get around that and get a good hold. And so this is a dynamic interaction. We are purposely bumping this drill up against something hard, and obviously if your grasp can't compensate for those forces and react to them appropriately, you knock the drill out of your grasp. So hopefully she's got a good enough grip on that won't be the case.
This is where depth perception is essential. The heads-up display hopefully gives enough feedback to her. It's a pretty clean heads-up display overall. Other than the AR sort of ghosting of that hand, looks like the feed is pretty positive. Again, there's a warning from that right arm that it can't reach. And that's something obviously she would hopefully have been instructed about by the team in her training session, is what that means. But the drill's in the left hand, on the left arm, so we'll see how that approaches.
I wonder if she's using it to stabilize there. No, it's not underneath.
Nope.
I'm wondering what the right hand is doing.
I think it looks like she was just getting her bearings to some degree. The target looks good. She's trying to get the platform right. I wonder if the extension of the arm is, The lineup is good. Oh, right around. And that's when it's in motion. That spin will put it right around that hex bolt to land it. Here it is, on it.
There it is.
Now the trick. There it is, and down.
Very nice.
Now, what does she do with the drill here? That's a great move. She made up a ton of time, actually, where other teams have struggled. That was really smooth from about 15 minutes after the energy canisters to about 20. So 5 minutes on the drills is absolutely one of the better times we've seen. She deposited the drill. It's bounced to the left a little bit, but it's still in the course now. That heads up has a home call, clearly. We just saw that happen. And now she has to reach in and determine which of the rocks is textured. There's 2, again, a redundant number of rocks in there. 3 are not, 2 are. One of those 2 will help seal the deal on this run and complete all 10 tasks.
So this compartment here has caused problems for other robots just based on the workspace, how tall your robot is, and what the ability of the robot is to adjust its workspace to reach into that gap is important. Dexterity down low or in places that are constrained, it obviously is always hard. So we'll see how this goes.
That's a big arm.
The right hand must be the one that has the right sensors to determine our correct rock, the energy abundance rock. She's being very active on something there, but the robot is not.
And so she's called up a home screen on the VR headset and tapped something. And now we're looking into her view through that. She's got activity on the right hand. There's about 3 minutes, just under 3 left to clear the correct rock, to clear the one that's textured and energy abundant, to complete all 10 tasks under the time. So it's gonna get close.
Yeah, the drill is definitely hard, but this one, while less achieved, is also very difficult. We're trying to grab something that you can't see. And so she has to use senses that she's getting from the robot system beyond just sight to determine where she is, to navigate, to understand whether the grasp has been achieved, and even to understand which one is the right rock to get.
And for Trina in particular, it's, at a certain level, it's at a decent height for the workspace for it. But again, is that right hand the one that has the most haptic feedback? The more dynamic hand is on the left hand, but we'll see how the sensors are aligned, and if so, about 1:49 to pull the correct rock out to complete the run under time for all 10 tasks. So she's resetting something in the home screen for that heads-up display.
It almost looks like she's selecting a rock. I wonder if they have some shared autonomy where they get into the correct configuration to be able to do that, which is a huge relief of a cognitive burden for an operator to use the robot system, even if it has different capabilities as a human to do the things it's good at.
Yeah, I mean, that icon is a rock, so we'll see. When you describe this shared autonomy in AI in terms of what that solution is, how would you use that? Or how might it be designed? Sorry.
Right. So from a standpoint of this, if you know that your sensor needs to be in a correct configuration to do that, you don't necessarily need to have your operator wiggle the fingers and do all of those sorts of things to get it there. Just have something pre-programmed to say, get it into this configuration, and now the operator can then do the rest. You could do that in a lot of places, but something like this where you don't have the visual acuity to be able to really sense things is a smart one. Ooh, look at this.
If that stays in.
And she got it.
She's got the grasp on it. She'll pull it out. It'll be the judge's determination for when the time ends. But unofficially, that is... 10 points have been given basically on the lower third. That's unofficial. If that's points scored, I'm going to say that's a complete run. 24-47 with 13 seconds to spare. Trina found the right rock, retrieved it, and puts Team AVATRINA in contention for first place overall.